Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the show. It's been a fun couple of weeks. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode. We heard from Ryan Frank on his journey to becoming Mr. Insurance. Ryan is documenting his journey to opening his very first insurance agency. So, if you have a chance to catch that on YouTube, you'll get to watch in real time as he does everything from passing his test to opening his doors in Florida soon for the very first time. And Ryan is new to insurance, but he's not new to leadership or scaling teams. So I'm looking forward to watching from the sidelines. And if you haven't caught my interview with him yet, just scroll back one week and check it out. I'm sure it'll bring back memories to when you open your agency for the very first time. That brings me to today. Instead of chatting with a new agent, we're going to hear from a seasoned agent who's really gone through the paces and is now helping other agents succeed. And so I'm sharing with you a meet and greet with my friend Cassidy. I feel like Zoom meet and greets are so very 2021. We've been friends on social media and finally connected for a real conversation. And today's segment records our first time chatting. We really didn't have an agenda. So we just talked everything from entrepreneurship to education to learning and understanding our money. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. It's fun. It was a great chat. And here it is. Check it out.
Hi, Cassidy. I am so thrilled to talk to you today because I've really been admiring your work from afar. So, hi, how's it going?
Good. I'm so excited to talk to you too. I feel the same way.
I'm so glad we finally got a chance to chat. I feel like we're always like crossing paths, but then we both have the crazy like insurance agency owner craziness busy schedule. And so we're finally in the same place at the same time. And it's so good to put a face with the name.
Yes, amazing. I've been also just kind of peeking through what you're doing. And I know a little bit about the backstory, but I want to hear some more about, where are you now, how you got there, a little bit more about you. And I think it was great because we were talking a little bit before this and just saying, it's totally 2021 now to start relationships and friendships and conversations and collaborations with people through the internet. And it's not weird anymore, and it's like, I think really just showing people that you can just hop on and just get to know somebody this way is something that, is normal now. And I'm just really excited to be able to chat with you today. So
this is so very 2021.
Yeah.
So when we all started working from home last year for COVID, we had always, worked in the agency together and sold like live on the floor and had like live coaching classes. And once we started going to all of our meetings on Zoom, it felt so weird for me at first. And I was way outside of my comfort zone. And now when someone tries to book like a phone call with me, I'm like, what? A phone call? I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Isn't that weird how we adjust though? I think in the beginning, somebody was telling me like, oh, your kids will learn to wear a mask just like they learn to wear shoes. And I'm like, it's not really the same. We don't breathe from our feet. But it's funny because she technically was right. Like I thought she was crazy in the beginning, but my kids went back to school at some point and they wore masks and they got used to it just like we did. Now when I don't wear a mask, I feel weird, right? So I think that we just learned to adjust. How was that switching to virtual with your team?
Oh my goodness. It was crazy. And I'm so proud of them because they were so flexible. They really did do a good job. But I think one of the super fun things about Quantum is that it's just like our like high energy environment. It's a super fun place to work. We have stand-up desks, music going, there's screens on the wall, everybody's like collaborating. And so to go from that to like literally sitting at your desk at home, staring at a screen and being like, I have to call like internet leads now. Like that's a completely different, it's a culture shock for a lot of agents. And so they did a good job. I remember back to like last March and April when we were we always do like morning huddles and after lunch huddles and trying to figure out our footing on like how we're gonna drive energy on Zoom. It's like,
oh man, I actually went
like everybody get online. It's 8:45. Bring your coffee.
and everybody's in like pajama pants with like a button-up shirt, right? Like,
Yeah.
but like at the beginning, nobody would turn their cameras on. And finally I'm like, turn the cameras. I have to interact like you guys. Come on. And we got comfortable. But I went to an event in December. It's a Tony Robbins event, UPW. And I've been in person before. And I was like, okay, well, the virtual one's like really inexpensive. I was able to get a friend to come, and like, I really thought it was going to be totally different than the in-person experience, which it was. But the energy was still there. We were still dancing around like weirdos, you know, and I think there's definitely a way to get that done virtually. And for me, I work with clients that I consult with for female insurance agency owners. And it's different because I don't get to just go have coffee with them. I don't get to kind of just show up at their agency and observe and do the things that I would really love to do. But we've found ways virtually to get all that done. We communicate through Slack, you know, we use Trello boards, all the different digital things that I think that, you know, are amazing, and all these softwares. And if you really know how to tap into them and use them, they're incredible, and they save you so much time and energy, and you can find a way to work virtually. I actually had an issue with team members wanting to come back. I think they got comfortable, you know, with not having to commute and the drive and just different things. And they really love just being able to be at home. I think we're a little more homebodies maybe than quantum employees, but now we're kind of back in the office.
My wardrobe really would fall under that homebody description.
I know. I feel like I gained more sweats and leggings in the last 12 months than I have my entire life. Like that's all I have now in my closet.
My kids can tell when I'm getting dressed to go to the office because they'll be like, Mom, what's on your face? Like you have lipstick on or mascara, and they can tell the difference.
You look so pretty, Mom. That's what I get. I'm like, oh, you look pretty. I'm like, what did I look like the rest of the week? But okay.
How old are your kids?
Okay. I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Oh my gosh. Those are such fun ages.
Yeah. Super
fun. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Okay. Boy, girl?
Yeah. So my 7-year-old, I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she's going into 2nd grade in the fall. And my son is 5.5, and he'll be a kindergartner in the fall.
I love it. So my daughter's the oldest, and I have a son sandwiched in between his little sister. And I always say how incredible it is. I think like the typical story is like you want your boy first and then a girl, right?
That's
like
what I thought. But
yeah, me too. That's the way the book is written, right? Or how it's supposed to go. Like fall in love, get married, have kids, right? And when I had my 2nd and 3rd child, my daughter is the most incredible little mommy. She literally is helping me raise my 3rd child. Like she's so amazing. And now I preach so much about how incredible it is to have a daughter first. And just like, I don't know. I just think
that's how it was for me. And Karis is such a little leader, and she's so nurturing, and she'll be like, come on, Katlyn, and she'll be checking in on him. She made him breakfast this morning, which I think
it's incredible. And they're little, but they're still my daughter calls herself mommy 2.0. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want you to have this quality of mommy, but okay. It's definitely a mirror, I think, to the things we do and don't like about ourselves when we see it in our children. So you can see, yeah. So she is like a little leader, a little boss mom. She did a bike wash the other week in our neighborhood. And she's like knocking on all the doors saying, hey, if you have any bikes, like I'm willing to wash them. She made like $50 in a 2-hour span. I know, it was crazy.
So proud.
I was proud, but I was also like, so you're knocking on our neighbor's door. Like, it's funny because the salesperson in me got nervous, like, don't bother people, right? But at the same time, I was definitely very proud because it's like, I almost don't care what her grades are because I'm like, I know you're going to be an awesome boss one day, regardless of what you do. So I don't have to worry.
No, you won't need college. You'll just be ready.
And I went to college. I got my bachelor's and master's, and I was going to go on to my PhD. And then, insurance career happened. And I don't know, nowadays, I feel like with technology, the way you're able to take specific and focused trainings and online classes and just the different platforms there are. And I'm even using them now to help teach insurance agents, different things for their business. But like, I don't know. What do you think? I think college is going to start changing, and education in general.
I hope it starts changing, because I definitely think that there is a lot of time wasted on stuff you don't necessarily need. So then that's cost, that's time, that's energy. And one of the nice things about like starting your career and then being able to dive into specializations is you kind of already know what skills you want to develop. So like I could probably list 4 or 5 things right now that would be a huge value add to me if I took the time to take a course in that thing. And so,
I mean, just think about insurance and in business in general. I know with Quantum, you guys do a lot of things to help, and it's super immersive. Like, what do you guys offer that you think is so amazing because it's really specific to people you work with, where they can just learn it from you, that's about business maybe, and instead of them going to business school, right, and like learning about some type of business acquisition in the 1920s that is so irrelevant today. Like the education system is just like really behind, where here I feel like you can be more focused on something specific and really help somebody achieve putting the theory to the practice. So like, tell me about how you guys do that.
I love that question, because we feel like training and education and leadership development is so crucial to Quantum and like our future, but we also can't pull off our mission if we're not really, really good at education and development. So we want to democratize insurance, which means we want to leave it in a different place than we found it. We want to better it on an industry level. And we cannot do that if we don't have the training and the education and the resources to help someone get started and get planted, and then be able to build a long-term successful career from where they started. And so for me, I'm the director of education on our team here at Quantum. And that means that my team has the mission to develop the future leaders of Quantum. And that means we have to be thinking about everything from onboarding to leadership training to specialization training. And I don't know what your experience has been, but I feel like historically in the insurance world, there's some resources out there for training, but we don't have like a holistic way to grow from being a producer for the first time to owning your own agency for the first time. So you're going to have someone who might have some sales courses, you might have some carrier training from the carriers, but you're going to have to go somewhere else for leadership development. You're going to have to go to Tony Robbins for that, for example.
Yeah.
And,
so 100%, I agree with you. I think that, you know, we are thrown into our industry, and 90% of the stuff that you need to learn on how to be successful, one's not even, you know, specific insurance things where it's like coverages and policies and things like that. It's more foundational business education, knowledge, skills, tactics, tools, all of that stuff. And leadership is a huge one. Learning and understanding your money, how to manage it, how to become profitable. You don't just, I think a lot of things when it comes to insurance and different trainings that are out there, it's like just sell, and everything will be solved. And it's really not the case. There's a lot of people that don't sell at high volume that are much more profitable than some producers that are selling crazy amounts of money, right? So like, there's just different things. And I think we just get thrown in, and it's like, all right, just figure it out. And if you need information about this, go here. If you need this, go there. And it's just this chaotic mess of access to things, but it's not organized in a way that we can really comprehend and consume and then apply what we've learned in the real world.
It's so true. And I think the challenge there is that people learn things in stages. So it's really a long-term battle.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I could cram into a month or 2 or 3, like maybe, you know, everything or most of everything somebody would need to know, and they would walk away with a tiny little bit of it.
And I've also found that too. So my program that I have right now, it's called Agency by Design. And the idea is that we really design your agency to be what you want it to be. I think that there's so many people just kind of trying to follow and copy what everyone else is doing. And I'm coming in and really saying, look, whether you're in insurance or you're in a different industry, this is your business. This is your baby. You get to decide how it affects your life, what it does for you, how you show up for it, and vice versa, right? And so we talk about how do we design your agency to be for you and not just be like everyone else, and design it so that the results that you get are by design and not by default. And so it's a 6-month program because it's meant to be this long out drawn process. Because if you don't do it that way, again, you're, like you said, cramming it all in, you're really not walking away with what you need to. And there's even implementation weeks. So when we study, learn, you know, and create processes and things for one specific aspect of your business, there is time in between the next thing for you to actually do the work. And I hold you accountable.
I love it.
Really implement it and say, hey, did this work? If not, do we need to tweak it? What do we need to do? Because if you don't get that piece done, you can't move on. It's really these building blocks of starting with that vision, starting with exactly what you want. And then how do you hire people to get it done? And what are the processes they're going to do when they get to start working? And how do you keep them accountable? And how do you, you know, all the different things. How do you manage the money when it starts to come in, and whatever the case is. So I 100% agree with you. It's so important to
That's so great. And that continuous feedback loop that occurs over that 6 months means that they're going to be able to have time to take that information and turn it into transformation, where something different is actually coming out of their output. Like they're going to sound different on the phone. They're going to sound different when they're coaching their team. Their day-to-day is different now. And their processes have had time to be created and implemented and reviewed. And you can't do all of that in like a quick little, like 4-segment session. And I think you can get a lot done in like some of those bite-sized courses, but I love programs where you can continue on and continue to tackle a couple more key areas, because we all could probably name 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things that we want to tackle, and then being able to prioritize it and start rolling up our sleeves, and then knowing we have a long-term approach for it, I think is so helpful.
Yeah, 100%. And I think too, like, you know, when people learn things, they learn it and they're like, that's great. It's great information. I mean, even like the Tony Robbins thing, right? So like you go get all pumped up for a weekend.
Like, I'm on board.
I have to do all these things. And then the days start going by and you're not actually implementing them or practicing. And then it all just is kind of for nothing, really. So yeah, I love that. Tell me a little bit about, just kind of switch it up a bit, but like, tell me a little bit about you being a woman in insurance and like how your transition has been, and then now kind of being in this position to really just be the first person kind of that are leading the new wave of agents that come into quantum.
I love being a woman in insurance. I think we actually have a competitive edge. I think we sound great on the phone. I think that we are business savvy. I think we have the processes thing down. Like, I think being a woman in insurance is like a secret weapon. And I don't see it as a drawback from my perspective. I know that hasn't been every woman's experience, but I just think women rock in insurance. And I think that there is a lot of money to be made by female entrepreneurs in the insurance space. And I personally would love to see more and more women be successful insurance agency owners, just because I know how life-changing it can be. If I think back 10 years ago, when I was out of college, newly married, and trying to think like, what career do I want to have? I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I had an idea of what kind of lifestyle and work-life balance I wanted to have. And I had a kind of an idea of my strengths, but my background was in like retail sales. And I was like, I don't want to be in retail forever. I don't want to continue up this corporate ladder in retail. So like, where is my sales experience going to take me? And insurance was such a God thing that just fell into my lap. I had no idea what I was missing out on.
How did it fall into your lap? Because I have a silly story too about it. I think it's just so funny how this happens.
It was. And what's so funny is that years before, I had been in the retail store selling cosmetics, and an insurance agent had been a client and tried to recruit me. And I was like, insurance, what? And so it's really funny to think back now how I could have started in insurance earlier, but I just didn't understand it or have any idea what it meant. But now as a mom, fast forward to where I am now, I not only have a really successful career where I get to help other insurance agency owners scale and grow and see the success that they need to see, but I also have a lifestyle that makes sense for what the time that I want to spend with my children. And I get to travel. I love traveling. So when we get to go visit agency owners across the country, like that's something that I get to do. And I know that that's something other insurance agents get to do, whether they're traveling to events or to visit with other agency owners. And so I just think it's just such an amazing thing that anyone can be successful in insurance if they want to be. You can try it out. There's an opportunity for everyone, and there's no cap. The sky is the limit. And to your point, Cassidy, you get to put your own stamp on it. We're going to have a conversation about like, what kind of career do you want to have? And let's work from there first and come up with a business model that makes sense for you.
And that's one of the things too. I actually had a really popular mommy blog when I was recruited.
You did?
And I was kind of finishing up master's, and I knew I wanted to have a business consultancy agency. That was like my dream. Like the one-stop shop where you could come, where we have an attorney, we have a CPA, we have someone who's a PR, like everything you can think of for your business that you need, like we would have them in the building. It was just like,
that's awesome.
And that might happen one day, right? So it still may happen. But I had this really successful mommy blog, and somebody reached out to me to recruit me for State Farm. And I was like, this is a scam. This sounds too I was like, I've come from the business world, from my family and things. And I'm like, this is all you want me to invest, and you're going to give me a book of business, and like, you know, just things like that, where I'm like, this sounds too good to be true, but I also don't know how much an agent makes and what I would have to do. Right. And I reached out to my personal insurance agent because I was a client for years from my parents, and it trickled down. And she was such an open book, and she was so incredible. To help me see the background of like the behind the scenes of her business and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I loved the idea of residual income. My family used to be in the pager business. So back in the day, we had a really famous business in Los Angeles. People still remember it to this day. It's so funny. And we knew what residual income could do, just building upon like larger clientele. And I went in, and 5 years later, insurance allowed me to have the funds to invest in a second business. And then again, it was the stability of the insurance income that allowed me to invest in a second.
And you continued to,
yeah. And even today,
have you started in the past couple years?
So we started about 5 years ago, and we're on to our sixth now, actually. And not all of them are like major revenue, but a lot of them have been better revenue than the insurance business. However, the insurance business is still always that stable company that has that residual income that's harder to break down. And that's been an incredible blessing during COVID too, when things fluctuated. So just back to your stories, like even if insurance isn't forever for someone, it is one of the greatest starting points, I think, that especially with a company like Quantum, where you really have that support and a lot of places don't, that I think is, you know, just setting you up for that success from day one. And even for us as the leaders of our companies, setting up our teams that way, right? So you're really showing them like, here's how you also show up as a leader now for your sales team, you know, anyone that you're building under you as your own company, I think is incredible. So that's just like a little plug into insurance. That's really been what has helped us kind of build our own little empire between me and my husband. So
I think the next time we chat, Cassidy, I really want to pick your brain on that, because you've created these multiple streams of income. And so as a female entrepreneur, I think you have a lot to share about how people can have a more diverse portfolio or take hold of opportunities in other areas that they have strengths in. And a lot of the processes and systems that have helped us see success in insurance are some of the same skills that'll help with these other ventures. That
100%.
And that way
I took
idea mode.
100%. And one of the things, just back to you saying like moms have this extra special like power, I really think that it's our being able to handle so many things on our plate at once. I mean, even before we kind of started recording today, we were talking about just like being a mom and all the things we had to do today. And it's literally crazy what we can get done. I always say I don't know what I did before children, because I know I still had the same 24 hours, but like, what did I do with them? I don't know. And I really think that the 5 years that I had to sort of perfect my agency system and how we developed our business to work the way I wanted it to, was all, like I said, based on business foundations. And you take that foundation, that formula, and you can apply it to any business. You just change the product, you just change the message, you just change, maybe the software, but the concepts and the theories of all of it is all the same. And that's why I think I've been successful in everything else that I have chosen to do. And how I am able to show up for other people and show them this formula and say, hey, this is what you need to do for your business, and we're going to do it together, and I'll help you figure out how it needs to look for you.
And it's priceless having that mentor and someone who can be your go-to person, be that extra level of accountability, and just help you. I think there's a psychological impact there to knowing like, okay, I've got my person and we have a plan. And that's an empowering feeling compared to coming to the office and sitting down at your desk and having to give yourself the pep talk 100% of the time. So I love that you're doing that. And we have an agent who recently joined Quantum, and they're launching their very first insurance agency. His name is Ryan Frank. You guys should check out his YouTube channel. It's called Becoming Mr. Insurance. But this guy has zero insurance background. He was a pastor, a publisher, an entrepreneur. He has like the coolest car wash in the world, everything but insurance, but he's been able to scale and grow teams. And he's been able to bring this really cool leadership vibe that I know is going to help him build a really successful insurance agency with like a different flavor on it. And that's the cool thing, is that no two agencies are exactly the same. So
I love that. That gets me so excited too, because I've been in the industry for a while. And so now I get excited by other people's success and seeing different personalities, different ideas. We're in the digital age now, and really kind of shifting from that old school insurance marketing and business running mentality to now talking about digital marketing and talking about automations and all the different ways that we can still run business. So I definitely think that could be another whole episode for sure.
We definitely have to have a part 2 here on perfecting our agency systems and business foundations and all of that good stuff, because there's just
makes my heart sing. It's my favorite thing in the whole world.
So before we log off here, Cassidy, tell us about your Facebook group, because I just joined it today.
Yeah. So we do have a Facebook group. The whole preface behind this group really was just, I was a female insurance agency owner, and I really felt like I was kind of lonely, to be honest. And I really wanted to find other women who were ambitious and fierce and in this industry, and really start to create that community and that tribe. So the Facebook group is called Female Insurance Agency Owners. Very simple. You just search that in the Facebook search and you'll find it. It is private, so you have to request to join, because I make sure that they're not, vendors or people that are just trying to sell to us, or employees of agents, because I really want to make sure it's a safe space that you can talk openly and, find other women. We are going to be running a retreat in August, and it's not a conference, it's a retreat. So you kind of come, have fun and relax, and get to hang out with other, really awesome women in the industry. And it's great. There's trainings every Tuesday, completely for free, just for you to come by. And we have a lot of people we're collaborating with to come in and give out some really awesome, valuable information and knowledge and trainings and stuff. So
I can't wait to dive into that. And I want to hear so much more about your retreat. So definitely keep us posted on that, Cassidy. It was so fun to finally meet you. And now I just have so many more questions. So I can't wait for our next chat.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch.
Have a great day. It was great talking to you.
Thanks. Bye.